Co-parenting with a narcissistic ex can be really challenging, but it's essential to prioritize the well-being of your child. So here are 10 tips to help you navigate co-parenting with the narcissistic ex. And for more videos like this, be sure to subscribe to our channel. The first thing to think about is to really focus on your child or your children and keeping your child's best interests at the forefront of your decisions and your actions. Remember that your main goal is to provide a stable and loving environment for your child. This can be really difficult if you're parenting with someone that has other agendas, but don't allow their agenda to derail your agenda. You stay on the firm and constant track that your job is to provide this very stable and loving environment. The second thing is to remember that they practice gaslighting, where whatever you say gets twisted into you being the crazy one. So make sure that you set clear boundaries. Establish clear boundaries with your narcissistic ex-partner and communicate them firmly but respectfully. So clearly define the responsibilities, expectations, and the limitations to minimize those conflicts. Basically, the more you can work on developing a solid parenting plan, structuring everything, laying everything out, putting it all down in writing, it's then very difficult for that person to do gaslighting with you because it's actually in writing and it's all been agreed, okay? How they do it is they're trying to make you question your feelings or question what was agreed, and when things are in writing and things are really clear, it minimizes those conflicts. So think about getting on the front foot and documenting as much as possible. Third thing kind of leads from that point is to maintain a detailed record of all your interactions regarding co-parenting matters. Having a shared website like My Family Wizard or something like that is key, because that documentation can be useful if the case becomes legal or an intervention is necessary or you need some evidence of their behavior. So if you have that strong plan up front and all your interactions are documented following that, you're doing well. The fourth thing to think about is to communicate through writing. Wherever possible, communicate with your ex-partner in writing, such as via email or text message. This approach allows for a record of your conversations and reduces the likelihood of miscommunication or manipulation. Narcissists like to trigger you, and what they do is they layer the triggers. So oftentimes what makes people crazy is there could be 3 or 4 triggers in one conversation. That then dysregulates the person and they start to kind of react emotionally. And then they are gaslit by the fact that they're reacting emotionally. You're being very sensitive right now. You've misunderstood where I'm coming from. I don't know where that's come from, or that's not what quite happened. They're trying to trap you in these conversational loops. So the more you put things in writing, you reduce the likelihood of that miscommunication or manipulation. The fifth thing to think about and consider is to consider parallel parenting. So this is an alternative to traditional co-parenting, and this approach involves minimizing direct communication and interactions with your ex-partner. It focuses instead on a completely separate parenting style and routine while keeping the child's well-being in mind. What that means is not to be so overprotective of your kid in a way. Thinking a little bit about, well, as much as possible, you know, you can control what you can control. You cannot necessarily control what happens when the children or the child is over at your ex's house. Given that this is what you can control, this is your parenting style, these are your routines, these are your structures, letting go of the fact that when they are with the co-parent, things might fly out the window and different things might occur. Explaining this to your children, making sure that they understand that things roll a little bit different when they're at other parents' house, and that's okay. My house, my rules, and this is our structure and routine. And keeping them in mind, keeping their well-being in mind, and explaining and training them on how to deal with the differences makes them more resilient overall. You know, I have several kids that I've talked about, you know, with their parents going through divorce, and the thing that always strikes me is how wise and independent they become as a result of the trauma that they've been through. And in that wisdom, they kind of see and understand a lot more than we give them credit for. And explaining things to them and training them on those differences, it means that they become more independent and resilient. So we shouldn't really be trying to protect them so much and causing lots of conflict to try and have the consistency. Consistency is not necessarily always possible when you're co-parenting or parallel parenting with a narcissist. The sixth thing you can think about is to seek support. So reach out to family, friends, support groups who can empathize with your situation. Sharing those experiences and receiving emotional support from others can help you cope with the challenges. But I would recommend to not necessarily just join a narcissistic abuse forum or let's bash the narcissist club, because what that does is it fuels more and more victim behavior. It kind of gives you a platform to share your terrible story, but doesn't necessarily give you strategies and tactics for how to handle it and get creative and thrive and succeed and grow and change. So be careful of spending too much time in the bashing mode. You got to spend time in solution mode. Number 7 is to be proactive in the legal matters. If necessary, consult with a family lawyer to understand your rights and your obligations. It's important to have a legal professional guide you throughout all the steps that you take, because there could be conflicts and there could be moments where you need to protect your child's interests. Having that legal person on side to make sure that you understand your rights are really key. Number 8, do not engage in power struggles. Narcissists thrive on control and they love power struggles. So avoid engaging in arguments or attempts to change your ex-partner's behavior. They're going to do whatever they're going to do. They don't like being controlled anyway. So focus on maintaining a peaceful and stable environment for your child. What this means is you have to pick your battles, okay? And you can't win every fight in fighting with a narcissist. You have to pick your battles, and you need to think of it a little bit like playing chess. So you might have to concede some chess in the tournament to win the overall tournament. Like up front, you might need to concede some things to get the overall game won. So having that peaceful and stable environment is your ultimate focus, not in being right and scoring points against your ex. Number 9, model healthy behavior. Be a positive role model for your child or children by demonstrating healthy and respectful behavior, even if the situation is completely insane, even if it's so challenging you can't even imagine how to do it. Your child is going to learn valuable lessons about empathy, emotional intelligence, and conflict resolution by observing your actions. So act in a way where you feel like your behavior is constantly being video recorded. That keeps us on the straight and narrow. And it keeps us in a position where we can feel proud of how we're behaving and conducting ourselves. If you don't think that you can do that because you're too hot-headed about it, take space. Take a time out. Don't respond immediately to whatever's just happened. Sleep on it. Wait the next day. Count to 10. Slow down. Focusing on those things can really help you to resolve the conflict a bit better with a fresh pair of eyes. Number 10, practice self-care. Co-parenting with a narcissistic ex can be very emotionally draining, so taking care of yourself by practicing self-care is important. Engage in activities that bring you joy, and seek therapy if you need to. Make sure you join our Narcissistic Abuse Recovery program if you need some steps and strategies for how to better co-parent with a narcissist. Come and do the Naked Divorce Emotional Freedom program if you want strategies from how to co-parent with a narcissist. Prioritize your physical and mental well-being. Taking care of yourself will enable you to be a better parent for your child. And look, co-parenting with a narcissistic ex is difficult. But by prioritizing your child's well-being, setting boundaries, seeking support, practicing self-care, you can create a nurturing environment for your child to thrive in. For more tips and techniques like this, book a clarity call and find out more on our website. Take care.